Welcome back, fellow agents. It is I, your paleontological prefect of perfection, X7, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, and dinosaurs, of course. Today, well, I was going to review this book, which is really great too, but I thought let's go back a little further in time and talk about one of just this great Dinosaur Scrapbook by Donald F. Glut. Now, Mr. Glut wrote this in 1980, which was a year, but it was published in 1980, and he probably wrote it for a couple of years because it is jam packed. I mean, when you look at this thing, it's a whopping 320 pages front to back. I mean, you open it up, you got an agathalamus that never existed, and then at the very end, this is what you've got is the a T-Rex there. Now everything was still tail dragon back then, except for maybe the Archaeopteryx and Deinonychus, possibly. Don't know. The Magic Door from Britannica, the Tyrant King. It's a great picture too. So, but 330 pages. Now, Mr. Glut, who I've met and got several autographs for, has written comic books for Archie, for Charlton, DC, Marvel, Gold Key. He wrote Dr. Spectre. He wrote a bunch of the What Ifs, as we've talked about. As far as DC goes, he wrote some of the Mysterious. Good, David. If that is my real name. Way to go, Seven. House of Mystery, Ghost Manor. Archie wrote Chilling Adventures in Sorcery. Started in 73, but he wrote a lot of Marvel. Did some for Warren in 71, Creepy and Eerie, and several issues of Vampirella in 69. He's written television shows for Shazam, Land of the Lost, Space Sentinels. We haven't really talked about the live-action Shazam, the first adaptation of Captain Marvel. The new Shmoo, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Has Amazing Friends, Mighty Orbots, which I'm currently watching and sort of enjoying, G.I. Joe, the X-Men in 93, and he's made movies. Unfortunately, Don, I'm sorry, none of which I've ever seen. But he's written also a lot of articles for Marvel's. Does it even have that on there? It should. Marvel Monsters of the Movies, and what was the other one? Oh, King of the Monsters. And all of his articles were very, very kind to Godzilla. His book Movie Monsters, originally published in 1978, no matter what Wiki says, was must-reading for me because that was the first time Godzilla had appeared. Well, I wouldn't say the first time, but the first time they talked about an author had talked about Godzilla and Gamera in positive light. Usually it was just negative press. Those cheap Japanese movies where their lips don't match what they're saying. Anyway, that's my issue now. I'm still salty about it some 50 years later. Yeah, okay, well, let's go with 50. But they had a great chapter on Godzilla with Gamera mentioned, even though, in 78, Gamera's movies were done until 1980. Well, anyway, let's not talk about that. We're going to talk about the Dinosaur Scrapbook. And it's all in black and white. It starts out after the introduction by Ray Harryhausen and paleontologist Robert A. Long, University of California, Berkeley. And then it goes right into it. We get a preface as to why he wrote the book. You've got comic books. You've got whatever you call those, statues, I guess, and more, movies. But he does start out where it begins, with the dinosaurs of Crystal Palace. Now, we've talked about those a bit did I review that? Monster Parks and things? But it's got all kinds of paleo art, which, as you know, I just love paleo art. We're not going to go through this page by page or even chapter by chapter because there's a whopping, let me get back here, There are 13 chapters, and they go from the Crystal Palace, the monsters of the dinosaurs at the World's Fair, the Lost Worlds of Edgar Rice Burroughs, the pulp dinosaurs. So all those, and then dinosaurs invade the screen, which of course starts with Gertie and goes on from there. Interestingly enough, the caveman music I'm using to introduce him had not been written yet. Well, it hadn't been released. It was released also in 19. It was released in 1981, a year later, so it's not even. The art here on the cover is by William Stout, a phenomenal artist. There's some more by him right there. In the contents page, yeah, William Stout, really nice guy too. I have a sketch of his. So let's get on here. We're going to skip ahead here. Get to Dinosaurs at the World's Fair. This was in the early 30s. Also reviewed in Zenorama 40. In color. Not that I'm bragging, but I mean, Don did do it first, and without him, I don't know if I'd be here. But once again, very nice man. Also, he likes his superheroes. He likes, Godzilla and dinosaurs. So I mean, he's my kind of guy. Thank you, Don, for writing all of that. Now, this was the first one where they based a lot of stuff off Charles Knight and 1933. So same year King Kong was made. Now we go to the 60s, and if you'll see, there is the Stegosaurus that's up in Dinosaur National Monument now. You can see a picture of me in Zenorama 40. That's hopefully the last time I'll try to. Well, no, there's part of the end I'm going to talk about. But these are all things. I have a copy of this little booklet from Sinclair. And then we go into Tarzan and the Lost Worlds and the pulp dinosaurs. Look at this amazing cover right there. It's Amazing Stories, but I believe that's an adaptation of At the Earth's Core had just been released. So 78, 79 is probably the last current things we'll see in this book. But I mean, the pulps had some amazing covers with things that kind of resembled dinosaurs. I believe we've talked about the journey to the, at the Earth's core, and Tarzan at the Earth's core, where the fantastic Stegosaurus could fly. Doc Savage's second adventure, dinosaurs. So, I mean, all this is covered, and then we get to when dinosaurs invade the screen, which starts out really with, Willis O'Brien's shorts, and then The Lost World. Is that from The Lost World? Pair of Triceratops. Then, of course, goes to the mighty ape god himself, King Kong. And then we get a bunch of, we got into the, there were scant pickings in the 40s and 50s. You do get the original 1 million BC, which, is adequately entertaining to this humble agent. And before we do anything else, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll. I'll ask more about which books we should talk about. I've got lots of dinosaur books. And here's there's some housekeeping notes here. We'll just open it up to a particular page and kind of thumb through this while I'm talking. I can't hold it and do this. Let's look at the back. Originally, when I thought about doing this years ago, 10 years ago, that I thought I should just get on YouTube and review books, and it would be fun. And you can almost see my face here, and I'm working on that, but that's again my issue, and I'll deal with it. So I think I'd like to at least have my contacts in, so I don't look like so studious. So I was going to review books like dinosaurs, and comic books and things, which I'm kind of doing now, but this is very fun. So I wish I'd have started 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but alas, life gets in your way. Anyway, the other second note, have you got your stack of paleo wheat cakes? No, that sounds like a diet, doesn't it? Get yourself don't get fossilized wheat cakes. Those will break your teeth. But just get a big old stack of wheat cakes. And the next note of interest is that I have decided, instead of numbering it, season 1, season 2, and which episode per season, like season 2 episode Oh, can't tell. Hold on 1 second. Let me get back up here. Season 2, episode um, 211. We're just going to go with the straight episodes from where, overall. So this is episode 254 now, not 244, which is what it'll say. Oh, look, there's an armadillo disguised as a giant. I guess a glyptodon? I don't know. So, let's get back on topic here. And we'll see. Here's two of my favorite movies. Teenage Caveman, starring Robert Vaughn, and Robot Monsters, starring George Nader. I think it's George Nader in 3D. I have the Blu-ray of this, and it's amazing. I don't have a 3D Blu-ray player, but I'd love to see this movie in 3D. It was one of the first ones they did for such an interestingly low-budget movie. All right, we've still got, we got the Gorgo and the comic books, which we've talked about. We really haven't talked about the comic books. But then those are the pretenders. And then we get to, of course, prehistoric monsters, Japanese style. And there's nothing condescending in it. That's a still from Gigantus the Fire Monster. There's just lots of great pictures in here. Now, they do put a bunch of random pictures. Here's Varan the Unbelievable and Rodan, one of my favorites, one of my old friends. I like Varan, but I'm not enamored of it. Some people will say, well, at least the Japanese version of Varan is so much superior, and no, it's not. Look, my first ever King Kong and Godzilla movie, as I've said before. So we get into a nice chapter on Japan. Let me see here. They've got a picture of magma. There's magma from the very nice, very good movie Gorath, which is cut out of the U.S. version for good reason. Baragon, and is this from The Legend of Dinosaurs and Monster Birds, which feature neither? Oh no, that's Nessie from Monster Prince, Kaiju Oji. So there's that. Let's see if we've got any. Aha! I was hoping to see this. Some cartoon Ultraman, which in a book, and you can tell 1978. Hanna-Barbera's Godzilla. They should really put that out on Blu-ray. A nice set of that. I'd buy that. So some more Ultraman art here. Not really, no pictures of Ultraman. Doesn't look like, which is very sad, I must say. And then what have we got here? Cartoon dinosaurs. Oh, see. So there's Gertie. I have to ask my cousin if she named her cat after the dinosaur. I'm quite sure she did not, but it will be a fun bit of trivia for her to tell people. Then we get bunches of cartoons, and then are we going into the comic books now? This is Dinosaurs on the Air. Oh, look! Watch out, Marshall, Will, and Holly. This is from an Italian movie, which I don't think I've seen. Allegro non troppo. Hey, I was right. 1976. It says on the air, but these are toys and comic books. This is A Gun for Dinosaur by I think that's L. Sprague de Camp. That was another dinosaur book I was going to review, was one with various short stories about dinosaurs, and it's really good. So we've got one of the first Outer Limits episodes I ever remember seeing, the tourist attraction. It's supposed to be some kind of ichthyosaurus, which meant nobody in the props department looked into a book about dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals. When they were telepathic. Ooh! Doo-doo-doo-doo! Space Ghost and Dino Boy! There's Space Ghost. There you go, Lil. I know you'd want to see that. Son of a biscuit. Korg. And Korg, which was a show about cavemen with no dinosaurs, but of course they put one in the comic book. And then Valley of the Dinosaurs, which we will get around to doing an episode-by-episode review some point in the near future. And there's a bunch about Land of the Lost. Dinosaurs in the comics. We've kind of really gone. They've been in the comics since comic books and comic strips have begun. Alley-oop, Sheena, the Queen of the Jungle. I mean, in the Vision, the original Vision, Arcus. He fought a dinosaur, Kazar, which I always pronounce Khazar. Still looks like Khazar. And just more and more. There's Conan, who should be losing to a. Oops. Now look, I know that I'm really manhandling this book. It is 40, almost 45 years old. I have a hardcover version coming here, which this is a lot easier to do. And then there's just so. Oh, look, they talk about Turok. There you go. We'll have to do a review of my Turok, the digest I have. So we did get to John Byrne with his. Now this is Sauron, a mutant who I think he's a mutant who draws power off other mutants. There's Storm there, and obviously back in the '60s when I think Roy Thomas invented him. They were probably enjoying themselves and thinking, "Hey, no one in comic books reads The Lord of the Rings. We'll just use Sauron." Well, I'm going to have to show this one, of course, because while it's not a dinosaur, it is a prehistoric mammal. Tiger there fighting a what the hell? A mammoth. That's not his true name, but I forgot it off the top of my head. Oh, and Dynamo from Thunder Agency. Comic books love dinosaurs. That's all there is to it. And now we go to Dinosaur Land. Okay, so this will be about the, is that in Utah? There, Vernal. So, Dinosaur National Monument, which I've been to. Now that hotel, look at all that land around it. That is not what it looked like in 2016 when I was there. It was such a fun visit. And it's built up a bit. There are only 10,000 people in Vernal at this point in time. I think I still have one of these somewhere. I would want to hunt a dinosaur. I don't want to pet one, but it didn't say you could bring them home. I was only 6 at the time. I really wanted to bring one home. There is Dinah, and I believe Dinah should be right around. Where'd she go? Dinah. Dang, Dinah. You missed your chance to be on the podcast again. I'm going to stand up here and see if she's... all the times to go missing. My dinosaurs. Or my dinosaur. Nope. She's nowhere to be found. All right. So then we get... Oh, these are still floating about all over the place in Vernal. And you can, and once again, a plug for Zenorama number 40. I'll drop that down in the comment section, or not in the comment section. Then you go to Dinosaur Parks. Now, I'm really bummed because they have a lot of them in here, but they don't have Dinosaur Land in Virginia, in White Post, Virginia. Kind of bummed because, of course, that's one of my happy places, and eventually I will get back there. See, there's more of them. That is also one of the reasons I made that issue. So, I mean, he might not even have known about it. I don't see anything. Cooperstown, there were a lot of these things. So finally, he ends up the book with, let me look there. Yeah, okay. There's a gorgeous Charles R. Knight drawing of a monoclonius, or maybe an agathalmus. Let me look again here. Yeah, that is an agathalmus. There are the 3 horns. It is, it is not that. It was a monoclonius partially, but boy, it did make an appearance in The Lost World, as you can see. It did not make an appearance in King Kong. Look, there's Willis animating. Hey, Willis. They just this is a nice way to finish it up. Just fun things to see. An old, old vintage paleo art. More stuff from William Stout here at the end. Diggs. And there you have it. It's really nice. I'm really bummed that I don't know where. This is not a pteranodon. It's got a tail. So sorry. I'm kind of covering this up because it might not be safe for anyone. Really couldn't see it. Lovely Smilodon. And just all around some gorgeous artwork, some toys like the Mark's playset. And there you have it. Oops. And we're done. So you can find these books for about $20 in decent condition. Some are in better than others. This one's in pretty good condition. I probably haven't done it any favors, really, by manhandling it like that. Look at that gorgeous artwork that he did there. And I'm still looking for Dinah so she can make an appearance. But I'm afraid that I don't know where she scampered off to. Oops. Because we got all the rest of them. Dang. Well, fellow agents, that is our book review of today. We're going to end up with a little more caveman music. And until our next assignment or next paleontological dig, this is X7 signing off.